there is a geography of the Bible as well as a history of the Bible that we need to hold in our minds when we're reading it. And there are really only two maps that we need: a map of the whole Middle East and a map of the Promised Land in the Middle East. Now, the familiar name that is given to the overall map of the Middle East is the Fertile Crescent. And what it does is it links two very large rivers at each end: the River Nile and the two rivers, Tigris and Euphrates. So these are very fertile valleys, the Nile Delta, and then the Tigris and the Euphrates, what used to be called Mesopotamia, which means the middle of the rivers. Now then, these two fertile areas were the centers of power in the ancient world. These were the East and West world powers. So the whole Old Testament is a struggle between these two world powers, between Egypt and the different empires that arose here, notably Assyria and Babylon, and in between the Promised Land. Now you notice that the Arabian desert covers all of this and the Sahara there. So when these two big powers attacked each other or tried to overcome each other, they had to travel through this narrow bit of land here. All the traffic was directed down this narrow coastal strip, which means that this was the crossroads of the world, actually. The road from Europe comes down the coast, it crosses the plain of Esdraelon, goes down into the Jordan Valley, and up onto the other side and down to Arabia. The road from Africa comes up the coastal plain and it crosses over the same Vale of Esdraelon, or the Valley of Jezreel, and goes up through Capernaum and up through Damascus and on to India and China. So that the actual crossroads of the world is precisely there, at a little hill called Megiddo. And the hill of Megiddo in Hebrew is Harmageddon. And that's why most of the big battles in history took place there, at the crossroads of the world. Overlooking that crossroads is a little village called Nazareth. And a boy of Nazareth could watch the world go by. He could lie on the hill as a boy, like being in an airport lounge, where you see all the nationalities coming and going. That's why they call this northern part Galilee of the Nations, because it was an international crossroads. Whereas further south up in the hills, it was very isolated and very Jewish. And Jerusalem is right up in them there hills. So you had two parts of the Promised Land, the international part, where all the nations came and went, and this very Jewish, isolated part up in the hills with Jerusalem. So you can see the importance of this land. God was going to plant his people at the crossroads of the world, where everybody could see them, where they could be a model of the kingdom of heaven on earth. So the whole world could see what blessing comes to people living under God's rule. But they would also see what curse comes of disobeying God's rule.